Mark Carney just ordered a Hawaiian pizza with Doug Ford, and the internet absolutely lost its collective mind. We're not talking about healthcare policy or carbon pricing or any of that boring stuff. No, we're talking about pineapple on pizza, and apparently, this is now a matter of national importance. So buckle up, because we're about to conduct the most serious analysis of the least serious topic in Canadian politics, and somehow, by the end of this, you're going to understand why a pizza topping choice might actually reveal more about political strategy than you ever wanted to know. Let's start with the basics, because context is everything. Mark Carney, the guy who literally ran two of the world's most important central banks, the man who probably makes financial decisions that affect millions of people before most of us have finished our morning coffee, sat down with Doug Ford for what was presumably a continuation of their Ontario wine country political speed dating session. But this time, instead of fancy vineyards and expensive bottles, they went for something way more relatable. Pizza. And not just any pizza. Hawaiian pizza. The most divisive, controversial, fight-starting pizza topping combination since someone first had the audacity to put anchovies on bread and cheese. Now, before we go any further, we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Hawaiian pizza was invented in Canada. Yeah, that's right. The thing that Italians claim is a crime against humanity, the topping combination that starts arguments at dinner parties worldwide, was created right here in Ontario by Sam Panapaulos in 1962. So when Carney orders Hawaiian pizza in Ontario with the Ontario Premier, he's not just ordering lunch. He's making a statement. He's signaling. He's engaging in what political scientists might call performative Canadian identity construction. Or what normal people call pandering, but let's be generous here. The fact that this pizza choice became news tells you everything you need to know about modern political coverage. We live in an era where what politicians eat is analyzed more thoroughly than their policy positions. And you know what? That's not entirely crazy. Because food choices, especially controversial ones, reveal something about how politicians want to be perceived. Carney could have ordered literally anything. Pepperoni, the safe choice. Margarita, the classy choice. All dressed, the uniquely Canadian choice. But he went Hawaiian. The chaos choice. The I'm going to eat this and dare you to say something choice. Let's talk about what Hawaiian pizza represents in the Canadian cultural context, because yes, we're really doing this. Hawaiian pizza is simultaneously beloved and despised, often by people in the same family. It's divisive, but it's ours. It's a Canadian invention that went global, much like basketball, insulin, and apologizing for things that aren't your fault. When Carney orders it, especially in such a public setting with Ford, he's not just satisfying a craving. He's aligning himself with a uniquely Canadian creation, showing he's willing to embrace controversy, and demonstrating that he's not some stuffy elite who only eats whatever the Bank of England serves at fancy dinners. And let's be real, ordering Hawaiian pizza is a power move. It's the culinary equivalent of walking into a room and immediately starting a debate. You know half the people are going to love you and half are going to question your judgment, but at least everyone's talking about you. That's politics, baby. Carney's sitting there, probably fully aware that this pizza order is going to generate headlines, and he's doing it anyway. That's either confidence or calculated risk-taking, and honestly, both are qualities you want in a prime minister. Doug Ford's role in this pizza summit cannot be overlooked. This is a man who has built his entire political brand on being everyman personified. Ford doesn't do fancy restaurants and 7-course meals, at least not publicly. He does Tim Hortons, he does backyard barbecues, and apparently, he does pizza. Having Carney join him for a slice is Ford's way of testing whether this Bay Street banker can hang with regular folks. Can Carney eat pizza like a normal person? Does he fold his slice? Does he use a fork and knife like some kind of monster? These are the questions that apparently matter in Ontario politics. The Hawaiian choice specifically also plays into regional identity politics in a fascinating way. Ontario invented Hawaiian pizza. It's part of the province's culinary heritage, as weird as that sounds. By ordering it, both Ford and Carney are celebrating something distinctly Ontarian, which plays well to the province's voters. It's local pride wrapped in melted cheese and controversial fruit. And before you come for me in the comments, yes, tomatoes are technically fruit too, so the fruit doesn't belong on pizza argument has always been scientifically suspect. But here's where it gets really interesting from a political analysis standpoint. Food diplomacy is absolutely a real thing. Leaders have used shared meals to build relationships, demonstrate cultural understanding, and create moments of humanizing connection for literally thousands of years. When Carney sits down with Ford over pizza, he's engaging in an informal negotiation tactic. It's harder to be adversarial with someone when you're sharing food. It's why business deals happen over lunch and why family arguments often pause during dinner. Breaking bread together, or in this case, breaking pizza, creates a social contract of civility. The choice of Hawaiian specifically might also be a subtle signal about compromise and coalition building. Hawaiian pizza is literally the combination of things that shouldn't work together but somehow do. Sweet pineapple and salty ham on savory pizza with cheese and tomato sauce. It's a mess of competing flavors that create something new and divisive. Kind of like federal-provincial relations in Canada, honestly. You've got different ingredients with different properties that have to somehow work together to create a functioning whole. Is Carney using pizza as a metaphor for national unity? Probably not consciously, but the symbolism is there if you squint hard enough. And let's talk about the soft power angle, because the headline mentioned it and we can't just ignore that delicious bait. Soft power is about influence through culture and attraction rather than force or money. It's why American movies dominate global box offices and why everyone knows what K-pop is. For Canada, soft power has always been about being polite, multicultural, and non-threatening. We're the nice neighbor that everyone likes but nobody takes seriously in a fight. Hawaiian pizza, a Canadian invention that spread globally despite massive controversy, is actually a perfect example of Canadian soft power. We created something weird, refused to apologize for it despite international criticism, and now it's available in pizza places around the world. That's influence, folks. So when Carney orders Hawaiian pizza in a public setting that's obviously going to be photographed and reported on, is he displaying Canada's soft power? In a weird, extremely niche way, maybe? He's embracing a controversial Canadian creation, signaling cultural confidence, and basically saying, yeah, we put pineapple on pizza, we know you hate it, we're going to keep doing it anyway. That's not typical Canadian behavior. We usually apologize and try to make everyone happy. This is the rare instance of Canada being unapologetically ourselves about something, and having a potential prime minister embody that is actually kind of significant. The internet, predictably, had opinions. You had the pineapple on pizza defenders celebrating Carney as a man of taste and culture. You had the pineapple on pizza haters questioning whether someone with such poor judgment should be allowed to run a country. You had Italians in the comments section having existential crises about what Canadians have done to their culinary traditions. And you had political nerds like me writing entire scripts analyzing what this means for Canadian federalism and the upcoming Liberal leadership race. Everyone's a winner, really. What makes this whole situation so perfectly absurd is that it probably started as just two guys grabbing lunch. Maybe they were hungry. Maybe Ford suggested his favorite pizza place. Maybe Carney was jet-lagged and not thinking clearly about the political implications of his topping choices. But because we live in an age where everything is content and every action by a public figure is subject to interpretation, a simple pizza lunch becomes a referendum on Canadian identity, political strategy, and whether fruit belongs on savory foods. The real genius of the Hawaiian pizza choice, intentional or not, is that it's relatable. Everyone has an opinion on pineapple on pizza. It's one of those rare topics that crosses all demographic and political boundaries. Conservatives and liberals, young and old, urban and rural, everyone has a stance on Hawaiian pizza. By choosing it, Carney created a talking point that literally everyone can engage with. That's much more effective than releasing a detailed policy paper that only political junkies will read. More people will hear about Carney eating Hawaiian pizza than will ever read his economic proposals, and that's just the reality of modern politics. This also reveals something about the state of political journalism and coverage. We're analyzing pizza toppings because, honestly, it's more fun than analyzing tax policy. It's more shareable, more memeable, more likely to generate engagement. And politicians know this. They're not stupid. They understand that a controversial pizza choice will get more coverage than a thoughtful speech about infrastructure. So they use it. They create these moments deliberately because they know we'll talk about them. It's cynical, but it's also kind of brilliant. Ford and Carney sitting down for pizza also represents a broader shift in how politicians connect with voters. Gone are the days when leaders only appeared in formal settings, giving carefully prepared speeches. Now they're expected to be accessible, relatable, normal. They have to eat regular food, shop at regular stores, and demonstrate that they're just like us even though they're clearly not. Hawaiian pizza with Doug Ford is Carney's way of saying, hey, I might have run the Bank of England, but I'm still a regular Canadian who eats controversial pizza toppings just like you. Whether that's authentic or calculated doesn't even matter anymore. The performance is the point. So what's the verdict? Was ordering Hawaiian pizza a masterstroke of political strategy, a display of Canadian soft power, and a brilliant piece of performative relatability? Or was it just two guys eating lunch and we're all reading way too much into it? The answer, as with most things in politics, is probably both. It was just lunch, but nothing is ever just lunch when you're a potential prime minister breaking bread with a provincial premier while photographers are present. If this deep dive into the geopolitics of pizza toppings entertained you even half as much as it entertained me to research, you need to subscribe to Canadian Insights right now. We're covering Canadian politics from every possible angle, including apparently the culinary ones, and we post new videos every single day. Smash that like button if you have strong opinions about pineapple on pizza, and drop a comment telling me whether Carney's Hawaiian choice was genius or grounds for disqualification from public office. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our coverage of whatever absurd political moment happens next, because in Canadian politics, there's always something. I'll see you in the next one, and maybe I'll order some pizza.